Now it's time for On Point, where we speak to experts to delve deeper into the biggest news stories in the spotlight right now. Among the many issues brought on by the COVID-19 pandemic, deepening polarization in society is something Koreans are struggling with the most.
But how do we deal with the situation, and how can the incoming Yoon administration help ease the problem? For this, we connect with Park Cyn-young, Director of the Regional Cooperation and Integration Division at the Asia Development Bank. Thank you very much for joining us today, Director Park. It's lovely to see you. And well,
thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And first off, well, over the more than 2 years of the pandemic that this world has experienced, who would you say has been the most impacted by this deepening social divide?
Well, thank you very much. And then, the COVID pandemic has pushed additional 80 million people in Asia Pacific into extreme poverty. The pandemic is really, in a way, discriminatory, that has pushed people in poverty, and also the groups that have been socially and economically vulnerable into further difficult situations during the pandemic. Those have been really experiencing the inequality over the past several decades are those ones who have been economically and socially the entrenched structural inequality, the ones that have been hardly hit by that have been the most hard hit during the pandemic.
So, Director Park, I think education is another sector that has been really impacted by the deepening polarization due to the COVID-19 pandemic. You see that some of the families who are more well off, they're able to afford better private education for their children. But the truth is, I mean, this is something that's been going on here in South Korea for some quite time now. Do you think maybe in terms of the education sector, the polarization in that aspect is something that's going to continue even post-pandemic era?
It is very unfortunate because, in fact, around the world, 200 million kids have been finding very difficult to access to education. They were shut out of school and lost education and lost school years will translate into their loss of income and productivity of the economy over the long run. This long-term scarring effect has been already documented in many reports that ADB has produced and then World Bank have produced. These even over the next 20, 30 years, will have the impact on the division, social divide, and an inequality. This is, as you mentioned, very closely related with socially entrenched the inequality, and this stratification has been already shown in the access to the digital school. Especially online schooling has been a challenge for low and middle income households around the world, and those will have very significant impact on the loss of the income, and the economies have to support the recovery of the lost education and school hours of the next the recovery phase.
And Director Park, with a new government to take office next month in South Korea, there's high expectations for change, and of course people want their livelihoods to improve. But of course the incoming administration is traditionally a conservative one, a bit pro-business rather than pro-welfare. So how do you expect to see the incoming Yoon government deal with social inequality?
Well, social inequality is actually very multi-dimensional challenges. It's not easy to just pick like one policy, one aspect to change that, really the entrenched, the long structured the inequality overnight. So the in fact, the policies that promote growth and create new jobs, new opportunities, and also the potential for social mobility are very important. So in this sense, I do hope that the new incoming government focusing on the growth will positively influence on these addressing these issues. Nevertheless, the growth has to be also inclusive. The policies that promote growth have to be human-centered. They have to really focus on the job creation, improving the quality of jobs. And to do so, you need to invest in a human capital. You need to really invest in education, health. At the same time, the policies that support creating the opportunities and then allowing people to access to new opportunities are going to be very important. The education, skills, training are definitely one of them, but at the same time, the policies that that encourage the entry and remove the barriers to entry to new businesses, and then fostering the entrepreneurship and then the new startups are going to also help. There are many the policies that can ensure the level playing field for the businesses, especially in Korea. The nearly like the about 44 the small businesses for like a 자영업자, self-employed, and those have to be also supported during the recovery phase, so that they get the new opportunity, they get the second chances. So that also helps. At the same time, the taxes and then social transfers are playing important role in addressing the inequality. There are many distortions in Korean taxation, and then I do feel more optimistic about removing those distortions in the taxation through the reforms and strengthening the transfers. I've had some studies looking at the taxes and then transfers in Korea over the past few years, and that has been positively addressing the inequality given the after-tax income. So that trend can continue.
Certainly, like you said, it is very multi-dimensional with these problems, so many things to tackle at this time. Director Park, unfortunately, we are out of time, but we do thank you very much for your insight, and hopefully we do see a solution moving forward.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.